Imagine a world where artificial intelligence isn't just, a tool for writing an email, but an entity that is literally smarter than you are.
And not just smarter at math or something?
No, I mean comprehensively smarter. Creatively, strategically, everything. Now imagine that reality isn't 50 years away. Imagine the person building it says it's going to happen by the end of this year.
It sounds like the opening of a sci-fi movie, doesn't it? But that's the actual prediction we're wrestling with today.
Welcome to the AI for Career Success podcast by Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. This is episode 181. I'm Fred Jones.
And I'm Daphne Blake. It's great to be with you.
What you were just saying, that isn't from some French website. We're looking at a transcript from the World Economic Forum in Davos.
Yeah, this is the inner sanctum. Suits, snow, serious money.
Exactly. Our source is a video from the Associated Press. It's titled, Elon Musk Speaks at World Economic Forum in Davos. And it's basically a conversation between Elon Musk and Larry Fink.
Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock. So you have the guy who basically manages the world's capital talking to the guy who's building, well, the future. And this conversation, it's not the usual dry Davos talk.
Not at all. I mean, they get into aliens, peace treaties, solar-powered data centers in orbit. It goes everywhere.
So let's start with that big picture, because to understand the robots and the AI, you first have to get Musk's whole philosophy. He says his mission isn't just about business.
No, not at all. He says his goal is to maximize the probability that civilization has a future. And he has this analogy he uses.
The tiny candle one?
Yes. He views human consciousness as this tiny, fragile candle in a vast, overwhelming darkness.
And this is where Larry Fink asks the question everyone wants to ask. He just comes out and says, are there aliens among us?
And Musk kind of laughs and jokes, I am one.
Yeah.
But then he gets very serious.
He does. He points out that SpaceX has, something like 9,000 satellites in orbit right now. And he says they have never once had to maneuver around an alien spaceship. Not a shred of evidence. So his operating assumption is, we might do it.
We might be the only candle. And that's terrifying. It explains his obsession with making life multi-planetary. It's a backup drive for humanity.
And speaking of what backs him up, let's talk about the money for a second. Larry Fink drops a stat that's just incredible.
Oh, yeah.
He notes that BlackRock, since going public, delivered a 21% compounded return, which is, amazing.
Hall of Fame numbers for finance.
But then he says Tesla, since Musk took it public, delivered a 43% compounded return.
43%. It's just astronomical.
Yeah.
It explains why everyone in that room is listening so closely when he starts talking about the future.
And that future, he calls it the age of abundance. He thinks AI and robotics are about to create an economic expansion, in his words, beyond all precedent.
He does give that little Terminator disclaimer, though.
Right. He literally says we need to avoid the James Cameron movie scenario. But assuming we do that, he sees a future where humanoid robots outnumber humans.
He mentioned them doing everything, watching your kids, your pets. But the one that really stood out was caring for elderly parents.
That's the demographic crisis, right? Yeah. Not enough young people to care for the old. He sees his Optimus robot as the solution.
Which leads to this idea you flagged, Daphne, of saturating needs. What does he mean by that?
Well, it's basically post-scarcity. If you have billions of robots that can work 24/7 for just the cost of electricity, the cost of labor, and therefore the cost of goods drops to almost zero.
So they can produce so much that everyone can have everything they need.
That's the theory. He puts a really, really aggressive timeline on it. He says the Optimus robots will be doing complex tasks in his factories by the end of this year.
And sold to the public by the end of next year. That just seems so fast.
It is. But this is where the conversation hits a huge physical wall, a bottleneck that could stop all of it. It's all about power. Musk points out that chip production is growing exponentially, but the electricity supply is only growing at 3 or 4% a year.
We're building these giant digital brains, but we're running out of outlets to plug them into.
And it's not just generation. He specifically calls out voltage transformers. The grid itself is becoming the limiting factor for AI.
And he pointed to China as the exception.
Yeah, the stats he gave were mind-blowing. China is apparently deploying more solar capacity right now than the entire power usage of the United States.
Just their new solar is equal to our whole grid.
That's the claim. So we have this massive energy crunch for AI on Earth, which is where the conversation pivots to space.
Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Curt Robbins.
Hi, this is Curt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the AI for Career Success podcast.
So, Daphne, before the break, you mentioned the solution to AI's energy problem might not be on Earth.
Right. Musk gives this great little physics lesson. He says the sun is 99.8% of the mass in the solar system. It's the ultimate battery.
And solar panels in space are way more effective.
About 5 times more effective. No night, no clouds, no atmosphere filtering the light. So his plan is to launch the AI data centers themselves into orbit.
On solar-powered satellites.
Exactly. You get unlimited high-intensity power. And you get another huge benefit.
The cooling.
Space is cold, near absolute zero. So instead of spending a fortune on air conditioning, you just point a radiator at deep space and get free, infinite cooling.
So you get more power and free cooling. It makes perfect sense. He predicts that within 2 to 3 years, the lowest cost place to do AI compute will be space.
But that only works if you can get the hardware up there cheaply.
Oh.
And that's where Starship comes in, the holy grail of rocketry.
Full reusability. He explained that current rockets, the Falcon 9, are only partially reusable. They throw away the upper stage every time.
He says it's like buying a small jet, flying it once, and then crashing it in the ocean.
The analogy that stuck with me was the airplane one. If you had to scrap a 747 after every flight, a ticket would cost millions.
Exactly. Starship is designed to be fully reusable, like an airplane, and he thinks that will drop the cost of getting to space by a factor of 100.
100 times cheaper. Suddenly, launching a data center doesn't sound so crazy.
It all fits together. The cars, the robots, the rockets, the satellites, it's one big system. But Fred, this brings us back to why he needs all this compute. The timelines he gives for AI intelligence are, well, they're shocking.
Shocking is a good word. He gives 2 predictions. Short term, AI smarter than any single human by the end of this year, or maybe next year.
That's basically now.
And then the medium term one, AI smarter than all of humanity combined by 2030 or 2031.
In about 5 years, all 8 billion of us outthought by a machine.
It changes everything. And he says we're already seeing the start of it. He called autonomous driving a solved problem.
And he backed it up with data. He said insurance companies are now offering half-price insurance for Tesla drivers using full self-driving.
Follow the money.
Insurance companies don't give discounts out of kindness. They do it because the data shows the computer is a safer driver.
So where does this all leave us? It's easy to be pessimistic to think of the Terminator scenario.
It is. But Musk, for all his warnings, ends on optimism. He says he grew up on science fiction and he wants to make Star Trek real.
I mean, he said he wants to be able to beam back to New York. He believes we can solve aging, become multi-planetary, create abundance.
And he gave this great piece of advice at the end. He said it's better for your quality of life to be an optimist and wrong than a pessimist and right.
It's a powerful way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because with everything changing this fast, sitting on the sidelines isn't really an option anymore.
The old constraints are being removed.
So I think the question for you, for everyone listening, is this. In a world of near unlimited intelligence and energy, what are you going to build?
That is the question.
Thank you for listening to the AI for Career Success podcast from Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.